Good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and a beautiful Tuesday morning. A little bit chilly. Oh yeah, it is. It's 4 degrees, and I'm certain that the experts will be able to tell you that is 39. I still have to look half the time. Actually, I look to make sure because I don't want to get it wrong. And two things for those who are now busy into what colour the lipsticks are. This colour is the Flipstick, the CoverGirl Flipstick Cheeky that I know a lot of you liked when I did the different colour samples the other day. The eyeshadow is a sort of purple from NYX or NYX. I never know how you pronounce that. Somebody will tell me. It's a purpley grey. Which I put on all over the eyelids, and then just took a white with a damp brush and put on a couple of layers of white and sort of mixed it in a bit until it got to that colouring, and the next traffic light I get to I will show you again so you can see what I mean. So I've decided I must be somebody who likes to mix things up together, like the mud pie thing, right? Because you will notice I mix up my lipsticks and I mix up my eyeshadows. Here you go. So, today is a day where I just wanted to dedicate at least part of this vlog to Melanie, because this will be the first full day Melanie has lived without Tom, and Tommy has been in her life for a long time, and he passed yesterday. Tommy was her ex-husband, and when she heard that he had cancer, she took him in and looked after him until the very end. And I say until the very end, even though he was removed from her house and taken to hospice in this last week. She was there until the very end, and there's part of me that was sad to hear that she was on her way to see him when he passed. But I believe that that was a gift. That was a gift so that she had done all she needed to do. And so, Melanie, I just want to tell you what an incredible example you were to so many of us. An example of letting go of whatever it was that caused you two to break up and not be married anymore, but incredible, example of what love is. I wonder sometimes how people do that. I'm not capable of that level all of the time. Very rarely, in fact. I am sometimes, I must admit. There are things that I have done that are like that. I have forgiven people and moved on, and taken them back, and then forgiven them and moved on and taken them back. And I have done that in a way. But really what I hear was that at his time of need, Melanie took him in and looked after him so he would not be alone. And a great personal sacrifice, really. She gave up her job. She did everything she could to make sure that he didn't have to spend his days on his own at the end. So a really big hug for Melanie from everybody, I'm sure. But you know, like so many things in life, will we just give lip service to it today and not be there for her tomorrow? Do you know what I mean? So let's make sure that we continue the support and continue to care. I think one of the greatest gifts that I have been given, and we have been given, is that people are beginning to trust us at the DearMamaSal level, at a very deep level. You know, people who've come along and been with us on the broadcast and then, you know, stopped coming to the broadcast for whatever reason, and that's fine. But, you know, when they hit trouble, then they come back to get the support. And I for one, have to tell you that I think that's wonderful. And I hope that we continue to be that place for people where they know if you're hurting at the moment, you know, you come along and we've got a group of people that are going to care. And it's not just me. And so I will never quite know what got Melanie to join us for the couple of weeks that she did prior to this pain happening. But I'm just really glad that she found us so that we can be here for her now. And it gave us a couple of weeks to get to know her a bit and to get to know her courage and her love. And so now we get to hopefully give it back to her in a way that's meaningful for her. And obviously our hearts go out to Kelsey, her daughter, as well, and because she also lived this, watching her father die for the last little while. And so I am sure that Kelsey needs a lot of hugs and supports as well. And you know, it was interesting because Melanie wrote and told me that Kelsey had a friend that was with her, and that was good. Sometimes, you know, you need somebody of your own age, because they're not necessarily, what would be the word? I don't know. It's different though. It's different. So, Melanie, I just really want you to know that you, as I said, have been an example to so many of us in terms of what unconditional love is. So that leads to the question for me today. The difference between unconditional love and boundaries. You know, we talk a lot about unconditional love. Now, the water's way down today, by comparison. Over the river we go. So we talk about unconditional love, and yet there are times when our love needs to have boundaries attached to it. And so to me, that is not necessarily unconditional love for the other person. It is unconditional love for yourself. You know, I choose to love myself enough to put down this boundary. And I think as women particularly, we don't put down that boundary very well. And we haven't been taught to a large extent. We're taught that we're the nurturers, we're the ones that are meant to give all this, that, and the other, and so it's a very difficult balance for women to learn how to do that. And one of the things that I heard from one of the viewers yesterday was that she is in a relationship. She's actually married to a man who, quite honestly, from what I hear, is really quite aggressive to her verbally, and also aggressive to her in terms of anger management. He has a temper, and that is scary. If you have somebody that throws things, if you have somebody who bangs things, out of temper, if you have somebody who does those things, then be aware. Be very aware. And you can justify all you like that this is okay behavior. And he only does it when I frustrate him. Be aware that that is scary stuff. And I think any time that we ignore those signs, we need to be checking in with ourselves. Because if we ignore those signs, what else are we ignoring? And so it's not that I want to judge this person, because I don't. I want to feel really sorry for them because I've been there. I've been in relationships where I was being abused, verbally or mentally, and didn't realize it. I've been in relationships where I didn't learn to put down the boundary and said, well, whoa, that's enough. And so what I try to do is to tell people that, they may want to check out some of the books by Melody Beatty. I'll get that right eventually. Because I think those books that she wrote on codependency were brilliant. And I don't know if she's still writing them, but they really are brilliant because they are written in such a practical way, easy to understand, and enough that you go, whoa, that's me. And it doesn't really matter. I remember actually reading the first one and that she wrote, and she had an example of there even of a mother-in-law situation. A mother-in-law that was constantly doing passive-aggressive stuff to her. And it was really amazing how she gave the example of how to stop that. And I really enjoyed her books because she always gave some examples of how to stop it. And so you guys that have watched me on the broadcast know that I get a lot of funny things happen on the broadcast where people will come in and make judgment calls. And, and some can be quite nasty. And you will notice I try very hard not to lose my cool. I'm pretty sure that a lot of you know losing my cool is something that I could do very easily in a couple of cases. And I try and remember, you're entitled to your opinion. And I try to remember to say, hey, you're more than entitled to your opinion. But if you don't like my channel, go somewhere else. I got a woman who did a really dangerous maneuver just now. And somebody who decided to stand on their horn to let them know they didn't agree with that maneuver. Luckily, I had to totally concentrate because I was scared she was going to hit me. Luckily, she didn't. Anyway, but it's quite interesting because what I try to do is to, when somebody judges me very harshly, I try to let them know that judgment hurt. In other words, I'll go, wow. And do the body language that goes, whoa. Because for so long in my life I didn't. And you don't have to say, you just judged me very harshly there. You can just go, whoa, it's enough. They'll get it. Now, certain people don't care at all about that. They don't care that they judge you. That's what they wanted to do, or they don't have the knowledge to know that what they just did is not very polite. And so when I have it happen in the broadcast, then I will do the same thing, which is woo. And I may say to them, we don't talk to people like that in this room. And if that's the way you want to talk to people, that's fine, but not here. And then you get people say, well, if you can't debate or you can't discuss things, can't take other opinions. It's not about not taking other opinions. When we have other opinions, we try and voice them in a way that doesn't attack people. I think it's very healthy to have other opinions, and we discuss other opinions a lot. we just don't make the other person wrong in doing that. It's okay to say, well, actually, I believe this X, Y, and Z, and that's fine. You don't have to say, well, you're wrong because I believe X, A, B, and C. It's just like everybody's entitled to see it from their way. It's, it depends on what they've done, how they've lived. And I wonder whether we don't learn this attacking behavior. I hate to say this, guys, but I wonder if we don't learn some of this aggressive behavior from our parents. And I go back and go, parents are meant to be the role model. And when children have an opinion, do we tell them, oh, what do you know? You're just 10 or whatever. Or do we say, well, that's an interesting opinion. Tell me why you think like that. And then give them the benefit of your knowledge, but don't insist that they necessarily agree with it, unless, of course, it has to do with their safety. But I think parents are pretty aggressive, don't you, when you think about it? And I wonder, for those of you who are grandparents, do you think part of the reason that children love their grandparents is because grandparents have learned how to word things differently? And by the way, grandparents break the rules a lot. They're fun because they do break the rules. So I wonder what it conjures up for those of you who are listening. How many of you get sparked by that? I love getting your feedback on these things because I don't have all the answers here. I believe part of my job is just to get us all thinking about it. And perhaps as you go through the day-to-day, you'll be more aware of aggressive behavior and aggressive voice tones and wording. And there are always going to be people like that in your life. So if you live your life, you know, going, oh, well, I wish that everybody was, you know, just different, that would be unrealistic. It's not going to happen. But you could be the person that helps change it. You could be the person that, by your example, you could make the conversation different. You could be the person that goes, well, that was a bit harsh. I definitely, as I have said many, many times, am not the perfect person. For all the things I discuss and all the things that you've heard me say, I get it wrong probably as many times as I get it right. And so don't put me on a pedestal where I don't belong. But I do know that I have tried to change. I have tried to change and let people live their own life, if that's what they want to do. I have set boundaries. I do set boundaries with my friends now. Why? I'm fed up with being used and abused. It's enough. You know, I'm at an age now where I don't need to put up with it. But I also understand that the way I choose to live my life might not be the way you choose to live yours. And so therefore I need to let people go and let them do their thing. And that doesn't make them wrong. It just makes them have a different opinion. I'd like to believe as well they won't hate me for the fact that I choose to live my life my way. And hopefully by example, we'll teach that tolerance. All right, everybody, on that note, this is Dear Mama Sal, off for another day, and we'll speak to you later. Bye for now.